what episode we're on. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Unmuted. Happy Friday. We're already in August. It's crazy that August 2026 is here. Super excited for our two amazing guests today, Gitonga and Golda. There you are, Gitonga. Your lights went out. We're super excited for everyone that can join us today. If you're here, let us know you're here. We can't really see who's joining us from this platform. So it's always fun to see who's here and where you're joining from. I'm Paige, your host. If this is your first time here, this is Unmuted. I created the Unmuted platform to just really share all of the amazing women that I get to meet in my career with other folks that I know. I've been doing social impact work for almost 20 years, and I've met some really amazing people traveling around the country and now doing some international work. And it was always a shame to me that I meet these folks, but other people I know don't know them. And how can I connect those dots a little bit more? So I created this podcast exactly for that, and exactly just to provide an opportunity for amazing women around the world to just share what they're doing, who they are, and make it easier for folks to connect with one another. I am the founder of Page Capacity Builders. I do social impact strategy consulting work, and I'm also an executive coach. So I do a lot of work in the nonprofit and government and philanthropic spaces. There is a little QR code at the top that just goes to my newsletter that I put out once a month. Actually, our August edition goes out today. And those are just resources really for folks around fundraising, around events, networks, volunteer opportunities, internship opportunities, trainings, things like that that are sometimes hard to find, but we know we need. So I just put a newsletter out once a month that has some of those resources in it. And that's what that QR code is for. If you're just joining us, let us know you're here. It's always fun to see who's joining us and from where in the chat. And without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and hand it over to our amazing guests. This is the first time we've had two amazing guests at the same time. I was thinking back, we met through LinkedIn, and you all just fascinated me with the work that you're doing, which is over my head. But your energy and your commitment and your synergy between each other, I think is amazing. Just hand the mic over to you both to share with our audience anything you'd like to share.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paige. We appreciate for your time and having us here. My name is Gitonga Miriam. I'm the CEO for LinkedTrust, where we build system, we curate system, we scale them, and we top it up. Thank you so much. Let me give an opportunity to Golda to introduce herself.
Sure. I was, I guess, the original founder, or one of the original co-founders a long time ago of what we called What's Cookin' Inc. here in Tucson, which has evolved into LinkedTrust, where Gitonga is the elected CEO. And thank you so much, first Paige, for that lovely introduction. And the idea of connecting people around the world, I think what motivates a lot of us, and giving, making sure that everybody has opportunities to control what they make and become something in the process of making it, I think is something that's important. So anyway, yes, LinkedTrust has evolved into an organization that does decentralized trust, and it does a lot of just regular consulting, AI consulting nowadays for startups. But more than that, it does worker governance that works for a scrappy startup. And I'll talk more about this later. I know this is just sort of the introduction part. And just now we're actually launching what we're calling workers.vc, which is a cohort to have other people adopt these systems that included the ranked choice voting, that included the earned governance, which is how Gitonga is running LinkedTrust.
So when you talk about some of those things, break it down for someone who doesn't know anything about that world. Sure. You said something that I like. The one thing, and I, obviously I'm very ignorant to this, is like AI consulting. I was like, okay, but the other components, it's so deep. What do those things really mean for, someone like me that just is not in that world?
Yeah, Gitonga, do you want to answer? I think you are better at.
I just wanted to talk about the and governance and what Golda said about what you're doing in LinkedTrust. That's one thing I'll touch, and then Golda will pick it up from there. So, and governance is how I got to be elected as the CEO, and of which most of our company, most of the traditional corporate, how they run their elections and how they run their companies. For us, I come from Nairobi, Kenya. And you remember LinkedTrust it's from the United States of America. So most of the colleagues we have are from all over the world. So when we started working for this company, it was way back when we didn't have funding, when we didn't have anything. So when you used to work, you used to be given equity. At that time, we used to work as volunteers. So we used to get equities. Now the equity we got from that time, we were using Fairmint to track our equity at that time back then. So my equity will come to when I need to get a seat in the company. So that shows how much I've worked for this company, how much I've earned this position, because my equity can speak for me. That's one. Two, when it comes to decision making, we tend to want to see if you're in a leadership position, have you like walked through the journey with us as a company? Because we've evolved a lot. Right now we're doing so many different things at the same time, and we are from very different part of the world. There are people who are coming from Egypt, others are coming from different, even Nigeria, Kenya, very different parts. We've come and met here. We've worked for like more than 4 years together, more than 5 years together. Personally, I've worked 6 years. So you find that attaining this position didn't just come. I didn't wake up and found myself as a CEO. I've worked from the barest minimum you can even think about. And that is that made me earn that equity at that time. So when we voted, it was work weight voting. So it was according to the tokens that I've earned over the years and the work that I've contributed. Yeah, that's how we were able to come up with the voting system. Thank you so much, Paige. Golda can take over.
Yeah. So that to me is very important. I like to say that I've worked for a lot of startups. I was in the U.S. with small children back in the 1990s, and so if you wanted to work remotely, you were working for startups. And I like to say, unfortunately, that most startups die of CEO-itis. Everyone knows that
they want to be the systems themselves instead of building the system to empower others.
Yeah. I mean, you may know that what we're doing doesn't make sense, but you're being paid to do it. So, oh well. But that's not. I don't think that's going to work. But if there's voting, Gitonga is the leader, but she is subject to vote of confidence. So if people thought, oh my God, what the hell is she doing? They could say, hey, wait, I object. Let's have a vote. Okay, let's stop this. And you can't do that in most companies. So there is not that accountability. But a startup also cannot sit around only thinking about voting or governance all the time. It has to be part of the natural flow. And so that's what we're doing with the Workers VC is that it comes, and we have done this already with LinkedTrust, but we're automating it to simply drop from the task tracker. So in this cohort, in the Workers VC, they are doing a normal accelerator, product market fit. Who is going to buy your product? What is your value proposition? What are you delivering value? Completely normal. The only difference is that people can join from around the world. And like we just had a guy join from Ghana yesterday who none of us knew, but he can join one of the ventures who accepts him. He seems like a really smart guy. If he contributes, does something on a task, it automatically will flow to his equity as this new person. So that's the thing. A venture can actually join this cohort, and we have space for about 3 more ventures, maybe 4, depending. We're having a number of ventures join. You can form a new venture through the cohort and start it from scratch, everybody sharing from what they earn. You can also bring one that has value. And so you give your cap table and you're like, hey, we already have value. And there's a team in Nigeria, Health Doc X, that is doing hospital paperwork that has committed to join. And they already have a great amount of value. So if new people join, they will get little slices in that value. Where if you're starting something from scratch, you have equal slices. And it just automatically flows.
Wow, that's incredible. That is so exciting. And you guys just started this new
it's a
cohort
for people to do it. We've been doing it for 5 years, like Gitonga said, 5-6 years.
Right.
But now there's a cohort. It's actually starting on August 24th that people could 25th that people can join into. and they could join the cohort. It's open right now on workers.vc.
And workers.vc. So that's how people can find it.
That's right.
That is super exciting. I'm so glad you all shared that. Wow. And you're living it. So that's incredible. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think it was really helpful because I didn't even know that was like you were doing that externally.
It just started
with others
last month. I should circle back and just let Gitonga talk about what is the concrete thing that LinkedTrust does in terms of credentialing and resumes. I don't know if you want to just talk briefly about that so people can understand what LinkedTrust does.
Yeah, as I've told you, thank you so much, Paige, once again. Let me talk about credentialing. Let me talk about decentralized trust ecosystem. That's one thing we've always like built in all up in years. And one thing we've all this impact validation. That's where we started, I guess. Yes. So where we used to validate impact using cryptographically signed photos. We used to use what the verifiable credentials at that time. So that's but it is cross. It can hold many use cases. The second case is skills credentialing, whereby your skills can be verified with. Let me give a good example with that. Assuming you did a course, or maybe you're in prison or just an informal course, and then now you're able to come. Maybe you're already outside and you need to look for a job. How will you prove you went to that school? How will we know? So the issue is here, most of the skills are not yet recognized in the world, and the best way you can do is we have a platform whereby you can put your skills and then you send them to maybe your tutor or your teacher or your lecturer, depending who helped you, like got it. So you put it there and then you get like it is signed, and then they have like write a review, and then when you send it to maybe your employer, you are able to get a job, and then they can attest that truly you have that skill. That help us with what is going on in this time of AI, as we are all in the AI is good, yes, but at some point when we overuse it, we get some issues, especially with the HR right now. They're being bombarded with so many CVs that are AI generated. So it's very hard to prove to somebody that, yes, I did it. But now this one is signed and asserted. So you're able to get proof and like the the confidence that this person truly went to that institution. It's not only school, it can also be a course or where you volunteered. Yeah. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much. I think Golda can talk the other.
Oh yeah, I mean I could talk for hours about it, and then Paige would never get a chance to actually talk. So I can stop there, or I can give a few examples.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Why don't you give us an example, and then we'll dive into our questions.
Okay, two quick examples. One is with the SNAP benefits going where they require volunteering. We're looking at credentialing the volunteer hours so that people could retain on their SNAP benefits. So that's one application. Another is a rapid fire scalable sorting of resumes. When they get an endorsement this way that's signed, the nice thing is if it's cryptographically signed and it's embedded in a web of trust, you don't have to do it again. Because when you're looking for a job, that okay, now I got to validate for this guy. Now I got to validate for this guy. Oh my God, it's too much time. You're looking for a job. But if you can validate once and have that credential be portable and it's signed cryptographically so everyone can see who signed it, then you only have to do it one time. And we have this platform actually entering the Workers VC because Gitonga's colleague Amir, who's in Egypt, who did this particular implementation using LinkedTrust, Trust Hire, we're going to let that go out into the Workers VC. Gitonga made the call that one could spin off into a startup. So if you want to join a startup doing essentially at scale sorting for recruiters so that the pile of fake resumes gets narrowed down, but not only by AI analysis, but by actually verifiable portable credentials. That's actually in the Workers VC. You can join and get equity. So
this is incredible. Wow. Y'all are blowing my mind. Like the possibilities. That is just really powerful. I love this. You're right, Golda. I could see how you could like go on and on about this. There's probably so many different like components and possibilities and
Yeah.
partnerships and things. All right. Well, should we dive into our questions?
Let's
Yeah,
dive in.
yeah, yeah.
Let's
It's fine.
dive
All
in.
right, let's do that. So our first question, and whoever, we can just answer however.
Okay.
What is a mindset shift that you had at some point along your leadership journey that really shapes how you operate today, how you lead today?
Okay. Let me go first. So one of the as you're asking that question, I was just thinking along, having been able to attain this position as a CEO, I'll just pick one. I used to think maybe I shouldn't show my vulnerability. I'm just, yeah, I know
Mm,
it, yeah, I know it. But at the same time, it's better you ask question, you ask clarification than to pretend you know, and you tend to make mistakes. That's one of the mindsets like shift I've experienced. And the second one is about being in leadership itself, because when you be in leadership you only think I'm the one responsible to make all decisions, but
mhm,
you're not like, let me tell you a good example of what we do in LinkedTrust, whereby like most of us, when the equity we have like a committee, we meet, each one of us gives us their opinion over what is going on and their thoughts, and then we combine our minds, and then we come up with a decision. And the thing that comes from there is leadership. It's not about you being yourself and you being like the one in charge, the only person yourself, and it's just building a system for others and out, like helping them, motivating them, and then the environment helps them become better people. Yeah, that's leadership for me, and the mindset that shifted
I love
me.
that.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna come work for you, Gitonga, when I am looking for a job.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much,
Hey,
I
Paige.
love that.
when you spin off one of these things,
Thank
maybe
you.
we can actually we can try to get some funding.
That's
I'll just
awesome.
one mindset shift I would share kind of came to me early on when I was trying to do these things, and I think it's relevant especially for women because as women we tend to be more self-critical, I think, than some guys. I mean,
Mm,
just saying, I've seen guys, get funding by saying, "Oh yeah, we can do this and this," and I'm like, "Dude, you're not going to do that," but he still gets, millions and millions of dollars, and I'm like, okay, because I can't say that with a straight face because I know, some of those things aren't going to work. Um,
yeah.
but that's not really the mindset shift so much. It's not that I would be want to be overconfident, but to realize that in today's time, it's okay to go forward without having the whole thing baked yet. And that's
Mm,
really the mindset shift. And it actually came, a friend of mine is a big Marvel fan. And I went to a Comic Con with my children years ago. And we actually saw Stan Lee speak before he died. He was like 90 years old up on the stage. And he talked about the way he originally managed to get ahead doing these comics is other people were like trying to write all the words first. And then the cartoonists had to match the cartoons exactly to the words and go back and forth, and he instead started giving the cartoonist the basic premise of the story, the arc. Let them draw whatever they wanted, and then he figured out what they were saying, and that way he could do two comics a night. And
yeah.
and so it's kind of like in even the Marvel ecosystem. I'll continue in that for a minute. They have all these threads going at the same time, and they don't stop and wait for one to be perfected. They just keep talking to each other, and so it's kind of okay to do that, to just go forward and say, hey guys, this is where we're trying to get to. Let's keep talking while we get there.
Hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee, what a fascinating life. He had, I didn't know about him, like his life journey until a few years ago. It's just incredible. I love those lessons. Um, our second question: what is a risk that you've taken that changed everything for you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me go first. One thing about me, I'm always a risk taker, and sometimes I take up things without even having the whole vision about it. So I always think about it along the. So what has really helped me is the willingness to learn and adapt fast. I tend to be a fast learner and adapt it along the way. So for me to just say no towards something, that's not for me. That can't come from me. Yeah, I'll try get everything dug out and then see what is going to like get what I'm going to get out of it. So it has really like helped me try so many things, even becoming have and move with it so fast that
That's
like I
right.
never yeah.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, like I don't feel so much the personal risk because I've always been in my mind very safe because of my situation here in but I do feel a big risk in the world. And I think there is a risk to taking on and saying, yeah, I will take this on because now then somebody might be is depending on you. And so that to me is the risk of telling people, yeah, you can depend on me. Oh, shoot, I overslept and missed a meeting. And that's
Mhm.
so I do feel that weight of like if I speak up, okay. But I think I've taken a number of times just launched something, and I think the risk to me is not so much an opportunity risk. It's not like I am losing an opportunity. It's more I am taking the risk that someone is depending on me. And so I have to
Mhm.
find a method, like Gitonga said, of making it not just be me, of making it be a system, of making it be cross people. And then when you can do that, then it becomes more robust, where it's like a network and it's not just me. And then I feel
Yeah.
better.
I love that, like, you both, it's almost like the courage that you have to operate that way is really like logic, in a sense of like, you're like, okay, I'm going to put a system around this. It can't just be me. It has to be other people. I need to delegate things. I need to involve others. And so it's like you're mitigating any risks through this like framework of logic that really has supported and given you the courage in a lot of ways, probably to move forward with some of those things. Or, like, how do you feel comfortable with other people having to rely on you? Because that is a lot of responsibility, and other people are like expecting you.
Well,
And Golda,
yeah, that's probably why we did the earned governance. Maybe it's a
yeah,
compliment. But actually, you guys are owners too, so it's not really delegating. It's more like now I'm just advising, and I
well,
moved to
that
a more
too.
advisory role. And I was like, okay,
Hmm.
you guys actually own this, and I am here, and I will help as much as I can, but
Yeah,
actually don't rely on me. And
yeah, yeah. And then it's a risk letting that go,
yeah.
right? But again, going back, like you've put the things in place,
Well, one time I
to
was on
support
vacation.
that.
I was going on vacation for a month, and Gatanka says, "Oh, I'm actually looking forward to you being gone, so I can make the decisions finally without."
Yeah, yeah.
See, I told y'all they have this beautiful synergy. I love it. There's linked
Thank
trust
you.
between you guys. It's so beautiful. All right, our last question. What is a lesson in leadership that you've chosen to unlearn? That you've chosen to leave behind? Something that you learned along the way and you one day said, no, no more. It does not serve me.
One thing that I've learned along the way is that it has to be me. No, it doesn't.
Uh-huh.
You're like I'm leading, assuming in our company you're more than 50 people. So yes, I'm the CEO. I'm the center of like where the control should come from, but it doesn't always have to be me. Yeah. So one
Mhm.
thing that has helped us and has helped me is building system, building an environment, building a conducive platform where all of us can come together. A project has come, yes, this project needs to be done. I'll
Mhm.
be there doing things and also helping in leadership, but also I'll work on them. But you also need to take ownership of what you're doing in that project. Something else is not it's okay to be wrong. That's one thing.
Mm.
It's okay. Admit, yes, I did the wrong thing. I missed a meeting. Maybe something happened. It's fine. Communicating is key. Communication is key. So that's how we are building the environment, the system together. So we are automating things that will run smoothly maybe I'm not around, but that doesn't mean the project would be submitted. Golda is on a vacation, but will always be working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Those
the
are some
culture you're
lesson I am
building.
learned. Yes, and the environment and a safe environment for everyone. Yes,
I
that's
love
those
that.
are. Yeah.
Sign
Thank you.
me up again. Sign me up.
You're signed up, Paige. Seriously.
You already signed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so amazing. I think, and sorry, Golda, not to cut you off. I think these are ways that people strive to operate in, and you all make it so real because you do operate that way, that it's not aspirational. And I feel so many organizations and leaders operate as though it thinking this way, being this way is kind of like that would be nice if I could do that. But, and I think there's so much missed there when you don't just commit to really operating in those ways and building a culture of safety and yeah, just community within the workplace. There's so many powerful things there. So thank you, Gitonga.
Thank you so
Golda.
much, Paige.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to play off what you just said also, Paige, and what Katanga said, is that I think that, if in fact the power is top down, and if in fact only the people on top can, fire the people below, but the people below can't fire the people on top, even, collectively, then you can add words, but you're not really changing the dynamic. And it's because of the real dynamic of having to earn stuff together and actually depending on each other. But I want to get back to that culture of safety, because one thing that I think maybe I unlearned is, so in a top-down environment, you are, and there are still power imbalances, because if I bring a big customer, I have that big customer attached to me, and there is a power imbalance, and that's a real one, because also my credibility is tied to this, and I can't let somebody screw this up. So I am going to address it if somebody does something they shouldn't. But the difference is, I think, that in the top-down environment, you're taught, oh, get rid of the people who are not doing what they should, and instead replace them with people you pick. And you pick and choose your people, and you put them like slots. But I can't do that, because actually, this guy who maybe did something I don't like actually also owns part of the company. And if I am going to say he can't be part of the company, I have to have maybe a whole meeting of like actually excluding this person. But instead, I can address directly. It's like, hey, you cannot be on my project if you act like that. And I'm actually going to talk to you, and I'm going to have a conversation with you. And we've done that. And, people can have conversations different ways of like why this was a problem. And so in a way that's a little more like a family, where you are connected to these people, and you are going to invest in resolving the conversations. But it's less scary to be in that conversation when you are also continuing to be a member of that family. You are not being removed from the family, but there is some other form of smaller correction going on where, hey, I can't have you on my project if you don't do XYZ. We had if you speak like this to this person, you can't be in charge of these people, whatever it is. There can be different things that happen, but we can have those conversations in an environment where we are strongly connected to each other.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, Gitonga said it too. Communication is key. These are really, really rich takeaways. I'm just looking at the time, and we're at time.
Nice.
It was wonderful to have you both with us, and I just really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you all for joining us today. Join us again in 2 weeks on the 14th. And if you missed any of this, it's all on YouTube, recorded, so you can check it out there. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Golda and Gitonga, and just have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Bye.